I'm really excited for this panel. I think this is a really nice segue from our diversity chat into chatting about women in tech. Definitely the tech space has been a space where women haven't been seen very much in the past, but a lot of incubators like ourselves across the country are working to bring in more female voices as much as we can. You folks are all really amazing examples of people in PEI who are really succeeding in the tech space, and all doing your own very unique things, which we're going to learn a lot more about through this panel. But yeah, I'll give our quick introduction on it, and then I'll let Jane take it away. We've got some great questions that Jane's going to go through today. And yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome conversation. And since we started about 5 minutes late, we'll probably go another 5 minutes later just to give us a bit of time. But yeah, so yeah, for our Women in Tech panel today, we have Chelsea Lake joining us. She is the co-founder of both Gift Booking and Lake Design, and she even designed the Startup Zone website if you guys want to check it out. We have Steph Perot-Bittner. She is the founder of Summer Street Creative, the Thriving Tides podcast, and the leader of the Brand It Yourself Facebook group. And she's also a branding and marketing specialist at the Startup Zone. I appreciate this shirt. And then we also have Mary Heth Cabrera here. She is the Chief Creative Officer at Agama, and from some things I've heard through the rumor mill, I hear that she's actually got a lot more things going on that we haven't heard about yet. Chelsea tells me about all the cool things you do, Mary Heth, so now you can tell everyone. And then finally, we have Brenda Cadman, who is not a Startup Zone company, but is still really connected with our community. We've had some events with you in the past, and Brenda's just amazing overall. She's the founder of Bon Accord Creative and the leader of the How to Use Canva Facebook group, which is a huge Facebook group, and she answers so many little questions on Canva, which is really awesome to see. And then finally, the whole panel will be moderated by the amazing Jane McIsaac. She's the Business Development and Membership Officer over at the PEI Business Women's Association, or PEIBWA for short. So yeah, I'll let you folks take it away. And again, any questions, send them in through the chat, and make sure you hit all panelists and all attendees so we get them. Awesome. Go ahead, Jane.
Right. Thank you, Rachel. And I also want to thank John, who's in the background making all of this run smoothly. I know that you can't all see yourselves as participants, and neither can we, but I have a feeling this might be the best looking audience of the day, so give yourselves a wink. The Startup Zone is an incredible resource in PEI and a great partner for the PEI Business Women's Association. We're thrilled to be presenting this panel on women in tech, and we really feel strongly that supporting women in this particular sector is critical to economic growth in PEI. I am the Business Development and Membership Officer, as Rachel mentioned. And for those of you who may not be familiar with our organization, PEI Business Women's Association is a network of women entrepreneurs and business professionals from across PEI that's been in operation for more than 25 years. At the association, we have a diverse membership that includes over 400 active business professionals from a wide range of sectors, including STEAM disciplines at myriad levels of experience, everything from startup entrepreneurs, established businesses, mid-career or new career professionals, dynamic rural entrepreneurs, newcomers just getting businesses started, students, and retirees. We throw the word tech around a lot, and I think we assume that we're all thinking about what that means in the same way. In preparing for today's panel, I wondered if it could be defined in a way that puts us all on the same page. So I thought, well, let's go modern. I turned directly to the etymology of the word, which takes us to ancient Greece. And in Greek, the word is actually defined as techne, meaning art, skill, or cunning of hand, and logia, meaning knowledge. So really what we're talking about here today is the science of craft. I point this out because I think we can get lost in the technical aspects without holding the parallel skill set of creativity and art in the esteem that they deserve. Our respected panelists are not only scientists and artists, but also adept women in business. And without further ado, I'd like to ask each of you in turn to introduce yourselves, identifying your company and position, as well as your background in tech, including a nod, if you would, to your training, whether formal or not, and the relevance of that education in your work today. Brenda, let's start with you.
Oh, All right. My name is Brenda Cadman. I own Bon Accord Creative. I've been a business owner for 20 years now. 2020 actually marks 20 years for me. And my main focus is WordPress development. So we run a website development company, but I also teach how to create a better website. And I also teach how to use Canva. But I don't have any formal training in those areas. My degree is actually in psychology, which perhaps is useful in business in some ways, but it's not actually any formal training on how to do what I do. I am self-taught. My dad used to bring home computers in the mid-'80s as soon as he could get his hands on them, because I think he realized early on how important having this tool in our house was going to be. So when the internet became widely available to residential neighborhoods as well, we were one of the first ones to have that. So I've been online since online was a thing.
Yeah, really cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Stephanie, you're getting a shout out for being cute. I know you're also very smart. Would you like to go next?
I am Steph. My business is called Summer Street Creative. My background is in graphic design. I've been a graphic designer for 8 years. I wanted to originally go to like a fancy art college, but I did not have the math skills, because apparently you need math for art. I don't know. But yeah, so I became a graphic designer through a little college program back in Edmonton. And along the way in my 8 years, I worked alongside many marketing roles. And I started learning marketing, and I'm obsessed with marketing now. So I decided to blend my knowledge of design and marketing into helping people develop their brands and to profit off of their passion. So at Summer Street Creative, we do help people with their whole entire brand, whether it's brand identity to brand strategy, building an online presence, and all that. My life is pretty full. I have a lot of hats that I wear. I'm also the branding marketing specialist here at Startup Zone, and it's been super rewarding. And it also led me to start writing my own book. So I'm currently in the process of writing my own book. So if you want to kind of stay tuned to that, you can join the Facebook group, Brand It Yourself. I'm sure there'll probably be some kind of link somewhere. And just to, add on the fullness of my life, I've also started a podcast with my co-host Julianne from Julianne Gauthier Coaching, and it's been super amazing because we're talking all about entrepreneurship, but also blending self-care, which can definitely be missed, especially as women. We need to really make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And yeah, so definitely very full, but definitely very, very grateful to be here today.
Thank you. Mariette, would you like to go next?
Hello, everyone. I am Mariette Cabrera. I'm from Colombia. I came to Ireland around 2 years ago, and I'm currently working as a creative chief officer at the Gamma. So we are a company focusing digital solutions, virtual reality, augmented reality. We also do some web development, and we also been working with different interactive like art stations. So we have been working a lot with the arts, involving that with tech. And I have a degree in film and television. So back in my country, I used to work as a director of photography. So I was a lot in the tech part. I like more than a woman in tech. I'm a nerd. Like that's really, it's like I really love all those things. And I've been involved with 360-degree video, also with binaural sound. I love programming and all those things with electrical parts. And well, also I've been involved as a volunteer here with the Sling TV station. It's been great to me to be involved directly with something that it's like my experience, and also been helping some other pressing company at Startup Zone with the podcast and some videos for them, MICC Financial. So check it out on Instagram. It's pretty awesome. And also, well, I've been involved with Startup Zone in a lot of things, and I've been really lucky to be here on the island. Like this is absolutely my home now.
Excellent, thank you. Last but certainly not least, Chelsea Lake.
Hello. My name is Chelsea Lake, and I'm the founder of Lake Design, which is a web design and development company. And we really like to focus on kind of like memberships and ticketing software and designing our own plugins. Really, our motto at our company is if you can dream it, we can build it. And we really mean that. So, you know, feel free to challenge us if you have like an exciting idea. That's our bread and butter. And we also have a software company called Get Booking, and it's a wellness booking software that we just started last year, and we're really excited about it. I have two really great teams in both companies that I love, and I wouldn't be here doing this and living this life without them and all their hard work. I'm also 100% so my background is actually in immunology. My degrees are in immunology and virology. I never studied anything in computers until I started doing it as a way to pay for my master's degree. And I fell in love with it, and that's what started the company, and I kind of just rolled it out from there. Development is a super exciting field. Getting into a computer job and learning to code is just, it's like learning a second language, and being able to create something that you can't see, but to build it out of thin air is really an exciting thing.
Great, thank you. Let's talk about how you've succeeded in tech. And this might be something about a personal experience and how that's worked for you, or it may be how you've just navigated this world. Stephanie, you wanna tackle that first?
Yeah, sure. Succeed is a weird word to me, to be really honest. I don't see myself as successful, even though I'll take a step back and be like, oh wow, I did all these things and I have all these businesses and all these hats and whatnot. So it's kind of one of those weird words to me. But I really do think that the fact that I'm taking the steps to progress in my creative field and test my knowledge and learn new things, that's success in my books. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else could attest to that, but.
Oh, are we able just to jump in whenever, or Jane, how do you want to do this?
No, you got a thought, just run with it. I'll
Okay.
have one of you if nobody's talking.
Sounds good. There was just dead silence. I realized, oh, I'm not sure how we're doing this. It is funny, the term success, it's interesting how everybody has kind of their own interpretation of what that term means. And I think you get a real insight into what's important to somebody as well in terms of how they define success. For me, success is really all about the fact that I've been able to turn what was originally a part-time kind of side hustle into my full-time way I make money for the past 15 years. I went full-time as an entrepreneur in 2005. And because of that, it has allowed me to create a schedule and a lifestyle that really suits me. And it is the sole reason that we were able to move to PEI a couple of years ago when my husband wanted to retire from the dental industry, because I didn't have any, my clients were not tied to any particular location. In fact, I've always had very few clients living in the same place that I live. So for me, success has been really freedom, the freedom that having this business has been able to give to me. And I can't imagine living a life any different than that anymore. So.
Mariette, how have you succeeded in tech?
Well, I'm agreeing with you. Like, succeeds a word that has different meaning for each person. And I think the constant search and curiosity, they have been the keys to building my own path. Like, actually, like, there is no path. The path is made by walking. But I think, I don't know if I have succeeded or not, but precisely that's my key, no matter what happens. Like, I'm not like search for a goal. I'm just walking and create my own path. And there are, like, this is the joy of my profession. Like, I don't want to reach some point. No, I want to keep learning all my life. This is not something that I need to achieve and then put it on the wall. No, it's something that it's every day with every experience, and especially with technology that it's changing all the time. You need to keep your mind open and, you know, play with all those new things and create something new that it's almost impossible now, like everything is created. But I think that's the magic of tech. Like, you could reach worlds that you never imagined, and as the same way, you need to be like open, because there is no final goal. There is always something else.
Chelsea, would you agree with that?
I agree with that completely. Yeah. And with what Brenda was saying and what Steph was saying, like, it is about that freedom for me as well, that I can, you know, wake up every day and know that I get to run my own thing. And a big part of that is that I get to work with a really awesome team of people that I feel like, because we're building this company and we get to employ them, that now we're all doing this together. And that makes me feel awesome, because when we go to work, you know, we'll try some things and they will fail like 9 out of 10 times. If we do something crazy, it's not going to work, it's going to fail. But I get to push boundaries and like try these new things that maybe they wouldn't have got to, and I definitely wouldn't have got to do otherwise, unless I was actually, you know, running this company myself. It's great to have that teamwork and these people in my life, and they are what makes me feel like that's success to me, is like every day I get to wake up and do something I like. And even on the days you still appreciate that aspect of it. You wouldn't trade it for anything. Like, I could say that for everybody here.
So what are the most interesting things that you're working on now? Stephanie, do you want to start with you?
Yeah. So right now it's mostly been my podcast. Thriving Tides is the podcast. Go check it out. It's been a whole entire learning process. Luckily, I had a little bit of video editing experience in the before. So editing audio wasn't too hard to get into, but there's still a huge learning curve. So jumping like feet first into it and just getting, like, we're so passionate about the project. And I think that's the biggest thing when we're talking about succeeding and like being excited about what we're working on. You need to have that passion of what you're doing. And that was like it was huge to be able to do it, not only on something that I care deeply about, but then also with a really good friend as well. So that's really exciting. And again, my book, I'm just super excited about that. I just need to find that time.
Mariette, what's going on in your world? What is the most exciting thing you're working on?
Oh, okay. So as I mentioned before, we work with a sound technique, recording technique. It's called binaural. So basically, it's a project called Ears. So it's a device that allows record sound at the same way as we listen. That means that if we take a dummy head, has like real ears, like they're actually like a copy of someone really like a very good musician ears, because there are also like anthropomorphic things that interfere how we listen. So we are recording with this device spaces, and when you're with the headphones, you will able to listen as if you were there. So we are mixing that recording technique with machine learning. So the idea is to bring like the most immersive simulations, but we are recording the real world. We are not trying to construct that in studio, but like, I don't know, like maybe if we were recording this session with this device, if a person uses a headphones, they will listen like all of us around. So it's awesome to can create like with the same tools, like simple headphones, to create this new experience for people. So we are trying to apply them to health, to people with problems with their mobility, so they can maybe at a hospital or something, and they want to escape to another place in the world, so they are going to really feel that they are in. And another thing that I'm working on, it's a movie script with one of my friends. So we are working a pretty long series. So for me, it's been like trying to handle the tech side and my artist side, even when I'm I consider myself like actually really nerd or good at math, but it's been like this, like the most exciting thing is to can bring a balance to those both projects.
Yeah. Brenda?
I think the most exciting, at least for me, thing right now is I am moving a lot more towards the development of online courses. And I think a lot of people are starting to explore this as a venue because, just to use an overused phrase, unprecedented times, people are needing to find other ways to potentially move their businesses online. And I've been dabbling in course development for, at least, I want to say 5 to 6 years at this point. So I am trying to move more of what I teach from a one-on-one sort of environment into an actual course environment that people can sign up for and do at their own pace and do from home. And folks have a lot more time. A lot of people have a lot more time right now to do those sorts of things. So I just basically want to get from a position of trading hours for dollars to actually something that's a little bit more passive income. So that's kind of where I'm focusing a lot of my time right now. And it's I'm gonna finally have the inaugural launch of my website course later this year. So I'm excited about that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Chelsea, what are you working on?
Awesome. And it's like a side note kind of to what Brenda just said, like it is because of these times, like with COVID happening, like a bit of like a silver lining to that, if I can say that, is like all these people are getting online and creating these new things and getting into tech in a way that they wouldn't have found time to do otherwise, or maybe they wouldn't have explored it otherwise, because there's all these crazy new ideas popping up, like the time, like Brenda getting into courses, starting her podcast, like that's awesome. And like Mariette, your ears idea is ridiculously cool. Like that is so cool. Like to think that I could close my eyes and feel someone whispering beside me that wasn't really there. Like that's crazy. So I just think that we're in like a really awesome time right now for growth, because I see so many people like waking up to the online world, which is really cool. And for myself, I like at booking software that we started just in the last year. It was really taken from, we work in the web industry, we work with companies all the time that are looking for these solutions, and we found a hole, we found a problem that there was no solution to yet, that there wasn't this solution where, they could do this online booking things and have all their marketing and their financials hooked up to it, and it didn't exist yet. So we were like, let's build that, let's be the best in the world, let's just try. And what's the worst that could happen? Like, so that's what we're going to do. And that's really exciting for us, because everyone on the team is really excited about it. And I have so many awesome people supporting that.
Please,
I
yeah.
can attest that the plugins are awesome from Chelsea. She's on a couple of the websites I've done, and I always love when I hear that she's working with me for her plugins. So I'm always so I can vouch for how awesome they are. So
That's great. I'm going to shift this into kind of another direction here. Yeah. Talk to me about, or talk to the group about some of the biggest barriers that you've faced. And I know that in the questions, someone had identified, how are all of you as confident as you are? And I suspect that some of you have maybe had to experience a lack of confidence barriers. So if you speak to that and any other barriers that you've had in making your way to the success that you've identified as being so personal. Chelsea, you want to start there?
Sure. Yeah, I think barriers. I mean, we're underfunded, we're underrepresented. There's a lack of mentors in the field. It's not as easy as you think it would be to meet other women in tech. Even being taken seriously, that can be tough sometimes too. But that being said, like out of all of these things, I think when you do find the funding, or you do find other people to connect with, those connections are that much stronger, because it's hard to find. And I think we don't take it as for granted. Maybe, I can't say that other people do, of course, but I think we really value those links. But it's definitely not common, and it's not easy. Like I struggle to find female tech mentors, and I think that is what I would say is probably my biggest barrier. is that I don't really have that. I do have to look outside of finding women in tech and talk to a variety of people, which is also really great. But I mean, it is getting better. Even lately, there's an all-woman group on the East Coast that hasn't yet launched yet, but they're all venture capitalists and they want to start funding only female-led groups. So like we're going in the right direction. We're having like more diversity and inclusivity in the tech world, and it is becoming an issue people are aware of and they're taking it seriously. So I have faith in humanity will get in the right direction. And confidence wise, I think that's like, I wouldn't even say that I feel that confident. Truly, I think that everyone's just like at some point accepts who they are and what they are and where they are. And then that is confidence, is just accepting yourself for this is what I got and this is what I'm going to do with it.
Brenda.
I was going to echo that idea. I think sometimes those that you think have the most confidence are just really employing fake it till you make it. There's a lot of just, acting confident. And I really think the confidence comes from the doing. And it just takes a lot of hanging in there and continuing to go after it. I don't find I have a lot of barriers now, but that's simply because I've had 20 years to figure out where to find the community that I need. But when I started in 2000, I was 22 and there were no, Facebook was not a thing. There was no social media. There was very little support for young entrepreneurs. And I distinctly remember hating every moment of it, but going to networking functions to try to build a community, and more than a couple of times just not being taken seriously and going on what I thought were get to know you coffee entrepreneurial meetings, only to find out somebody was trying to take me on a date. And it was very frustrating. But the advent of, love them or hate them, good old Zuckerberg has really created a world where it is much easier to find mentorship and a community of people who share your challenges, who are trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, who can help build each other up when you are experiencing failures, because you will experience failures. And I think just having that opportunity, we're no longer limited to who we can find locally. We have an entire world of entrepreneurs that we can connect with if you're willing to put yourself out there and go out there and make those connections. So I don't find the barriers so much now, but in the beginning, they were there in a very big way.
Mariette, what are you experiencing?
Well, I agree with you, with Chelsea, with Brenda. Like there are a lot of things around being a woman that make difficult, not only in tech, but in a lot of things. But the hardest and the first thing that I learned when I came to the island is that I don't need to think about myself as a woman in technology. Like it's more like rather as a person in technology. Like I think my first barrier was I broke that titles that could follow me, like maybe that I'm an immigrant or I'm from Latin America or I'm a woman or I'm a young, and I refer myself as a professional, and I bring all my value, like what's my experience, all my job. It's not because I'm something, like I consider that the biggest barrier is when people must be classified by characteristics that do not interfere with their professional performance. So actually, before I struggled in getting a job here on the island, and actually the first industry that opened its doors to me was the construction. So it was although it's dominated by men, I work with the construction industry here on the island, and I work like shoulder to shoulder with different men, and it was awesome to me to demonstrate my ability, and I found a lot of security. So because I was around, I don't know, like 20 men in their 40s, or so they were, I was like this girl with 24 years, like trying to, I don't know, to bring a lot of wood. And it was like, okay, I'm not going to cry or just wait. I'm going to say like, okay, I'm a worker as good as they. So I ended up learning a lot. So I think the barrier that I broke was to remove all these tags that somebody could put on me, like whatever, and say like, my value is because I'm a hard worker, I know what to do, I have experience, and I need to know myself first. And yeah, that's it.
Chelsea, I see you nodding.
Yeah, I just keep going. I love it. Yeah, I think that's awesome. It is. It's like you just have to believe in yourself first and leave everything else at the door.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm going to go off script a little bit from the questions we prepared. We're talking about, and Marieth mentioned, think of yourself as a person in technology rather than a woman in technology. We know from, diversity that's really about inclusion. So when we think of it in those terms, what do women bring that is different to tech?
I would actually say perspective. I don't know, like I've had to fight a little bit. Funny story, when I actually was first starting to become a graphic designer, I actually used my partner's picture and his name, and I would get so much more offers and wanting to work with me. And it's so funny that like when I look at it now, it's not so bad now that I've had the years and the kind of experience to back it up and actually be like, no, you pay me. But I think that kind of gives me an advantage to have that perspective, especially when working on projects and working with like a team and helping people through their team as well. So I don't know if that answers anything.
I mean, I think something else that, and I don't want to necessarily buy into the stereotype that all women are nurturing and mothering and all those things, but I am a very empathetic, relationship-driven kind of person. I am a mother. I go into all of my relationships with my clients as a long-term relationship. I care about them. I want to know what's happening with their families. We have a depth of relationship that I have not seen amongst that I can say definitely a lot of those clients have come to me. They've been working with other web development agencies or freelancers, usually men, and they don't feel taken care of. They don't feel like those developers necessarily have their interests at heart the same way that they have felt working with me. So I think sometimes that it can be one of our greatest strengths is I nurture and I care give, and I can do that with my clients as well. And I think it ends up with a more fruitful relationship as well, that I just haven't seen replicated by a lot of the men in my industry.
Marieth, do you have something to add?
Yeah, it's, I think it's like what Chelsea mentioned before, that like it's harder for us to get some positions or to get some jobs that we probably need to work harder to get exactly same results as some others. So that's bring us on a bigger perspective. We are like, it's like our brain is the same, but we approach things differently because we face a lot of boundaries that other persons they don't face that kind of things. That I think that being a woman brings you like a lot of different obstacles that when you break that obstacle, you grow 10 times. And that's a beautiful thing in woman that we really need to work on it. Like it's not just quit. If you keep working, it's harder because sometimes you're like exactly same position, exactly same qualification that's some other person, but you're not like enough. But that it's like the perfect seed to be better. And that's, I think, is like the obstacle convert the obstacle in opportunity.
Chelsea?
Like when I think about it from like leading my team perspective, I think listening, I think would be the number one thing that I bring to the table a bit more than maybe my other counterparts. It's just like people feel more comfortable to say what they're thinking, even if they think it sounds stupid, or bring ideas to the table, even if they know that we can't do it. And it's just like being open and being able to listen and to create that group dynamic. I think it's just, it can't just be all women, it can't just be all men. I think it always has to be like, we need a diverse group. If you have a team of all one or all the other, like there's something missing. There's something great about the dynamic between men and women and all cultures and everything coming together, meshing. That's how you grow something truly that can't be broken, because you have all the different perspectives and you have everyone working together. And I think that is like where we need to head, is to just having more diversity like that. There should be more women CEOs. There should be more women at the table in these huge meetings. Like that's the way we should be going, and we are going. So I think, yeah, it's a new perspective that we bring to the table, and we just weren't at the table before. We're just starting to pick it up and be there more often.
I suspect we've all had the experience of seeing somebody else that looks like us, or and you see, well, if she can do it or he can do it, if you think of yourself in those terms, maybe I can too. So those are mentors. And how are you finding or accessing mentors? Is that a struggle? Is it something that you've seen great value in? Let me speak to that. Maybe Brenda, can you start there?
I mentioned it before. I mean, social media has been an incredible opportunity for connecting with like-minded people who to not only to find mentorship, but to provide mentorship as well for those who are further along in their journeys. And I mean, I talk to a lot of people online who are starting out for the first time, and they have all these questions that I had in the beginning and that I had to learn the answers to the hard way. So really, Facebook groups have been a tremendous opportunity. Those communities, I run several communities myself. You just need to find that balance between using entrepreneurial Facebook groups to find that support and find answers to those questions, but not let it suck up your entire day because it's very easy to spend your entire day reading through threads and groups, because there are so many of them now. So I usually would suggest finding one or two communities online that really feel like a fit, and then spend some time there, listening to the questions people are asking, contributing where you can, asking your own questions, and you'll probably find your own tribe fairly quickly.
Stephanie?
Yeah, I've never personally had a mentor. I always wanted to, but I never knew where to go to find a mentor. So with that being said, I did end up surrounding myself with like-minded people, and the Startup Zone was definitely a huge factor in that, because you're not only surrounded by like-minded people that are experiencing the same thing that you're going through, but it's also just like to bounce ideas off of and look up to people that have already gone so far in their entrepreneurial journey as well, and ask them questions. And that's the cool thing too, like you can use specialists as well at the Startup Zone and ask them like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, that's so cool as a community that we have that. And yeah, so I feel like I can't add too much to that. I do definitely agree with Brenda. Go on Facebook and the communities; those are huge. But yeah, I've never had a mentor, so
You might be becoming one.
yeah.
Mary, either of you would like to add?
Me? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. Well, as a person who practically left her parents' house and then is thrown to a new world, like when I came here, I born again, and I think Startup Zone was the best resource. It was a super valuable tool. Like these communication spaces are very valuable to make connections and continue learning. On the other hand, I found Women's Conference very useful for inspirational things, but I think what has inspired me and taught me the most is to see women speaking from authority, like spaces that are open to everyone, and she's there because her work, not because she's like doing a quota. It's because she's valuable to be here. And I found a lot of mentoring, like it's just little things that actually my husband works with Chelsea, and I found her a lot, like really an inspiration, and like she make like a bet on me and commit me a work, and that's simple little thing like it's really important to me. Like this kind of trust from somebody from another country that you never met before, different cultures. I think that's the biggest mentoring thing that I found here. Like create connection with someone. Like it's like you, even there are cultural difference apart. It's because they're, you know, that it's real. That's really I think the biggest mentor that I found here.
It's great evidence of partnership and community. Chelsea.
That's very sweet. Geez. Okay, so for me, I'm probably I think that mentors are probably one of the most important things we could do in this business, for one. So I don't even know where to start because I literally look for mentors everywhere. So social media, like the Girl Boss group on Empower PEI is what it's now called, is like one of the first places I found when I first came to PEI. I think that was like 2 years ago now, and they like meeting Ash Green and that, and just meeting all these cool women, that was a huge step into the community for me. So social media, 100%. The startup zone was where I made like all my first friends. Like going to conferences all over the world, I think is incredibly important no matter what your industry. Find a conference, go to it, even if it's just like wine or tourism, whatever. That is so important. That's where you're going to meet like all the people that are doing exactly what you do and who have all the insights that you need for the next like 10 years of your life. And I guess really just like anyone that you need to talk to, you can ask someone like Pat Farrar here. If I'm like, hey, I have a question in like software product development and this very specific niche thing in that, who can I talk to? He's going to set me up with like 3 different people. I'm going to find one of them that I really like, and then I'm going to make sure that like I take them to coffee and I follow up every 2 weeks, and I'm sending them update emails on what's going on in my business and my life, even if they don't want them, even if they're like, you know, they're not going to reply for 6 months. It kind of keeps you top of mind, and it keeps them interested in your journey. So I think like having mentors is really important, because eventually, even if it's 2 years from now, 6 months from now, these people will be able to give you that insight, and you won't make the same mistakes that they did, or mistakes you could possibly make. And that's something I really value, is like, we're not reinventing the wheel in any way. We've all probably done something that someone else has done and has been on that journey. And for them to share that with us is like cutting that time down of the learning process for us that we no longer have to do. And I really value that. And I found some really great people on island and off island that have been super supportive in that way. And that's helped me cut down my time in learning some things for sure.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. And I mean, you're hearing it here. I know we've got a lot of people attending, and I hope you're hearing all of these different resources available to you. We've talked about communities like Empower PEI, PEI Business Women's Association, of course, is also available to assist in any of these ways. Obviously, you have a wonderful community at the Startup Zone. And I think, you know, we've identified that there are a lot of people with a lot of the same challenges, and together we're just a lot stronger. I want to recognize that we're now at our cutoff time. So I'm going to pass this back to Rachel and just thank our panelists. I know that we could probably go on for hours in this discussion, and I hope that we do. I hope we pick this up in other venues and continue this conversation supporting women in tech and PEI.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I've been saying this after every panel today, but I really hope we have some sort of follow-up for a session like this, because you all are amazing and bring really amazing insights. And I think this has definitely been one of the best panels of the day, last but not least. So I really loved it. Thank you all for coming out. Hopefully everyone sticks around for our last session with Lisa. And now